I still remember the exact moment my heart cracked, even before it broke. It was a quiet Tuesday night, the kind of night where nothing bad is supposed to happen. The TV was on, but no one was watching it. My husband, Mark, was in the shower. Steam crept under the bathroom door, and his phone lay face up on the couch between us like it was breathing. I wasn't snooping. That's what I tell myself even now. The phone buzzed. Once. Then again. Mark had always said, "I don't hide anything from you, Emily. You're my only one." He said it so often that it sounded like a promise carved into stone. The phone buzzed a third time. I glanced down just to make it stop, just to swipe the screen away. That's when I saw the name. Sophia Red. My stomach dropped so fast, I thought I might throw up right there on the couch. I stared at the screen like it was a bomb. My hands went cold. My ears rang. For a second, I actually laughed under my breath because it had to be a joke. Mark had a coworker named Sophia. Maybe it was her. Maybe the heart emoji meant nothing. The message preview popped up before I could stop it. I missed last night already. The bathroom water was still running. I didn't breathe. I didn't move. I just stared. For years, Mark had looked me in the eyes and sworn I was the only woman in his world. He said it when we got married. He said it when we moved into this house. He said it when I asked him, joking but not really, if he ever got bored of me. "Only you, Em, always." My hands started shaking. I could feel my pulse in my throat. I should have put the phone down. I should have walked away. I should have pretended I never saw it. Instead, I unlocked the phone. My fingers knew his code. My birthday, of course it was. The screen opened, and my whole life collapsed into tiny glowing words. There were dozens of messages. Pictures. Voice notes. Plans. Jokes that used to be ours. I scrolled slowly, like maybe if I moved carefully enough, the truth wouldn't notice me. Sophia wasn't a coworker. Sophia was his escape. That's the word he used. "You make me feel alive," he wrote to her. I felt my chest tighten like someone had tied a rope around my ribs. Another message. "She doesn't understand me like you do." I swallowed hard. My mouth tasted like metal. She was me. The shower turned off. Panic exploded through my body. I locked the phone and dropped it back exactly where it was. My hands flew to my lap like they were guilty children. My face burned. Mark walked out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, smiling like he always did. The same smile that had made me fall in love with him 10 years ago. "Hey," he said, "you look pale, you okay?" I looked at him and wondered how long he had been lying to my face. "I'm fine," I said. The lie tasted bitter, but it came out smooth. He kissed my forehead. His lips felt foreign. I fought the urge to flinch. That night, I didn't sleep. Mark snored softly beside me, peaceful, careless. I stared at the ceiling and replayed every moment of our marriage like a movie I suddenly understood differently. The late nights. The sudden gym obsession. The way he tilted his phone away from me. I had trusted him. In the morning, I smiled. I made coffee. I kissed him goodbye. And I decided something very important. I wasn't going to cry. Not yet. I wasn't going to scream. Not yet. And I definitely wasn't going to confront him. Not yet. Because if Mark thought I was clueless, he was about to make the biggest mistake of his life. The next few days were torture. Mark acted normal, too normal, he joked. He hugged me from behind while I cooked. He asked about my day. Every time his phone buzzed, my heart punched my ribs. I started noticing everything. The way he smiled at his screen. The way he suddenly had meetings after work. The way he showered twice a day. I played my role perfectly. I laughed at his jokes. I asked about his job. I even teased him about being so busy. "You're popular these days," I said one night. He laughed, "Just work stuff." I smiled back. Inside, I was memorizing his lies. One afternoon, While Mark was at work, I did something I never thought I would do. I went into his home office. At first, I just stood there, staring at his desk. It looked boring, normal, like nothing bad could live there. Then I opened the drawer. I don't know what I expected. A secret phone, letters, something dramatic. What I found was worse. A small notebook. Black cover, no label. My hands trembled as I opened it. Dates. Times. Places. Hotel names. Some of them were circled. Some had smiley faces next to them. My legs gave out, and I sat on the floor with the notebook pressed against my chest. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a one-time thing. This was a schedule. I cried then, quietly. My tears soaked into the carpet like they were ashamed of themselves. When the crying stopped, something else took its place. Calm. Cold, clear calm. That night, I did something unexpected. I cooked Mark's favorite meal, steak, mashed potatoes, the good butter. He noticed. "What's the occasion?" he asked. "Do I need one to spoil my husband?" I said. He smiled, relieved. He had no idea how close he was to losing everything. After dinner, I poured him a glass of wine. Then I poured one for myself. I raised my glass. "To us," I said. "To us," he replied. I watched him drink. I watched him relax. I watched him trust me. And I realized something that shocked even me. I wasn't angry anymore. I was curious. Over the next week, I learned everything. I followed patterns. I paid attention. I asked innocent questions. Sophia was younger. Of course she was, 28, lived downtown, thought Mark was trapped in a loveless marriage. That one made me laugh, out loud. Mark complained about me to her, about how I nagged him, how I didn't get him. I memorized every word. One night, while Mark slept, I unlocked his phone again. This time, I didn't shake. I opened Sophia's contact. I stared at her name for a long time. Then I did something bold. I saved her number. Under my own phone. I didn't text her. Not yet. Instead, I changed something small. I updated my social media. A new profile picture, me smiling, confident, happy. The comments rolled in. "You look amazing. Glow up." Mark liked the photo within minutes. "Wow, smiling face with hard eyes," he commented. I almost laughed. That weekend, Mark told me he had a work conference out of town. I helped him pack. I kissed him goodbye. As soon as his car disappeared down the street, I grabbed my keys. I followed him. My heart pounded so hard I was afraid he'd hear it from his car. I stayed 2 cars behind, turn by turn. He didn't go to the highway. He went downtown. To a hotel I recognized from the notebook. I parked across the street and waited. 10 minutes later, she arrived. Sophia. She was pretty, I'll give her that. Long hair, confident walk. She smiled when she saw him like he was a prize she'd already won. Mark kissed her. Right there on the sidewalk. I took a photo. My hands were steady. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I smiled. Because in that moment, my revenge stopped being about pain. It became about timing. I drove home slowly, carefully, like nothing in the world had changed. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, I woke up with a plan so unexpected that even I was surprised by it. And it didn't involve yelling. It didn't involve divorce papers. And it definitely didn't involve telling Mark what I knew. Not yet. Because if Mark thought betrayal was painful, he had no idea what was coming next. I woke up smiling, and that scared me more than the tears ever did. Mark was still gone. His side of the bed was cold. I stood in front of the mirror and studied my face like I was meeting myself for the first time. My eyes were tired, but there was something new behind them, something sharp, something awake. I whispered, You don't know me anymore, Mark. I made breakfast just for myself. I turned on music, loud, happy music. The kind I used to love before I started shrinking myself to fit into his life. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Mark. Conference is boring already. Miss you, Red. I stared at the heart emoji and laughed. Not a soft laugh, a real one that filled the kitchen. I typed back, miss you too, be safe. Perfect, normal wife Emily. I slipped my phone into my pocket and grabbed my purse. It was time for step 1. I drove downtown, but not to the hotel. I went somewhere else, somewhere Mark never paid attention to. A cafe near the river. I sat by the window, ordered coffee, and took a deep breath. My fingers hovered over my phone. Sophia's number stared back at me. I had rehearsed this moment in my head 100 times, but my heart still raced. I didn't text her as the wife. That would be too easy. I created a new contact name. Lily. Then I typed, Hey, this is Lily. I got your number from Mark. I paused, then hit send. 3 dots appeared almost instantly. My stomach flipped. Hi, oh yeah, Mark mentioned you, smiling face with smiling eyes. Mentioned me. I sipped my coffee slowly. Oh good, he said you might reach out. I'm helping him with something special. There was a pause this time. Oh, like what? I smiled. Something big, a surprise. Another pause. Oh wow, he didn't tell me that. Of course he didn't. That's because it's not ready yet, I typed. But you're important to him, so I thought you should know. I could almost hear her curiosity buzzing through the screen. That's really sweet of you, she replied. Sweet. I leaned back in my chair and watched people walk by, completely unaware that my marriage was cracking open in real time. Anyway, I typed, I'll be in touch. No problem, smiling face with smiling eyes. I locked my phone. My hands were shaking now, but not from fear. From power. That evening, Mark came home smelling like hotel soap and lies. He hugged me tight, like he was trying to convince himself I was still his safe place. Conference went great, he said. I'm glad, I replied. He watched me closely, like he was checking for cracks. I gave him none. Over the next few weeks, I became someone new. I joined a gym, not because Mark liked fit women, but because I liked feeling strong. I changed my hair. I bought clothes that made me feel visible. Mark noticed. You've been glowing lately, he said one night. Have I replied. Yeah, it's kind of hot, he joked. I smiled. Inside, I thought, you have no idea who this glow is for. Sophia texted Lily more often. She told me things she didn't mean to. How Mark promised her they'd be together someday. How he said I was comfortable but not exciting. That one stung. I let myself cry that night, just a little, just enough to remind myself I was human. Then I wiped my face and kept going. One afternoon, Sophia sent a message that made my heart stop. Do you think Mark will leave her soon? I stared at the screen. This was it. I typed carefully. I think Mark is scared of change. 3 dots. But, I continued, sometimes change happens whether we're ready or not. She replied with a sad face emoji. I just don't want to get hurt. I almost told her the truth right then. Almost. Instead, I wrote, I understand. Because I did. A week later, I made my next move. I planned a small dinner party. Nothing fancy, just close friends, Mark's coworkers, and one extra guest. Sophia. I invited her through Lily, saying it was a casual get-together and Mark would be there. She hesitated. Is Emily going to be there? She asked. Yes, I typed. She's very kind. That part was true. She agreed. The night of the dinner, my heart beat so loud I thought Mark would hear it. I set the table carefully. Candles, soft music, warm light. Mark walked into the kitchen and froze. Why is Sophia here? he whispered sharply. I turned to him, calm as glass. Because she's important to you, I said. His face drained of color. Sophia stood in the doorway, confused, smiling nervously. Hi, she said. Emily Wright. I smiled back. Yes, I've heard so much about you. Mark opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked like a trapped animal. Dinner was awkward, painfully polite. Every word felt like it might explode. Sophia kept glancing between us. Finally, she laughed nervously. So, how did you two meet? Mark choked on his drink. I answered for him. High school, I said. We've been together a long time. Sophia's smile faltered. Mark stared at his plate. After dessert, Sophia pulled me aside. Emily, she whispered, can I talk to you? Of course, I said. We stepped onto the porch. The night air was cool, quiet. I didn't know, she said quickly. He told me you were basically done, that you didn't care anymore. I looked at her, really looked at her. She wasn't evil. She was lied to. I know, I said softly. Her eyes filled with tears. I feel sick, she whispered. I did too, I replied. Inside the house, I heard Mark packing. Sophia took a shaky breath. I think I should go. I nodded. That might be best. She left without looking back. Mark exploded the second the door closed. What the hell was that? He shouted. I didn't raise my voice. That, I said, was honesty. He ran his hands through his hair. You embarrassed me. I laughed. Embarrassed you, I repeated. You betrayed me. Silence crashed between us. How long? I asked. He didn't answer. How long, Mark? He sank into a chair. Almost a year. A year. I nodded slowly. I'm going to stay at my sister, he said quickly. We can talk later, fix this. Fix this. I watched him pack a bag. When he reached the door, I said, Mark. He turned. You still think you control this, I said. You don't. He frowned. What does that mean? I smiled. You'll see. After he left, I sat alone in the quiet house. My phone buzzed. A message from Sophia. I'm so sorry. I stared at it for a long time. Then I typed back something I never thought I would say. This isn't over yet. Because my revenge wasn't about ruining him. It was about rebuilding me. And the most unexpected part. Mark had no idea how much he was about to lose. The house felt different without Mark. Not quiet, not peaceful. Just empty. I walked through each room like a ghost, touching things we had chosen together. The couch, the photos on the wall, the dent in the hallway where we once dropped a suitcase and laughed for 10 minutes straight. I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I cleaned. I scrubbed the kitchen counters until they shined. I folded laundry that didn't need folding. I organized drawers that were already neat. I was trying to control anything, while my life spun out of my hands. My phone buzzed again. Mark, can we talk tomorrow? I stared at the message. My chest tightened, but my fingers stayed calm. Sure, I typed. Tomorrow. I put the phone down face first. I wasn't ready to hear his excuses. Not yet. That night I dreamed of water rising in our house, room by room, quietly. By the time I noticed, it was already at my neck. I woke up gasping. The next morning I put on a yellow dress Mark used to love. Not for him, for me. I did my hair, I wore lipstick, bright red. If this was a war, I wasn't showing up unarmed. Mark arrived around noon. He looked smaller somehow, less confident. He stood in the doorway like he didn't belong here anymore. Hey, he said softly. Hey, I replied. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one where we'd eaten dinner 1,000 times. This time, there was no food, just truth waiting between us. I messed up, he said. I raised an eyebrow. You cheated. He winced. Yes, I cheated. For almost a year. Yes. With someone who thought you were leaving me. He rubbed his face. I didn't mean for it to get that serious. I laughed, a short, sharp sound. That's funny, because it looked very serious from where I was standing. Silence. I love you, he said finally. There it was. The sentence that used to fix everything. I leaned forward. Then why didn't you protect me? His mouth opened, then closed. I was weak, he said. I felt invisible. She made me feel wanted. I nodded slowly. So you destroyed your marriage to feel wanted. He looked up at me, eyes glossy. I want to fix this. I studied his face. The man I thought I knew. The man who had kissed another woman on a sidewalk like I was already gone. Fixing this, I said carefully, means giving up control. He frowned. What do you mean? I mean, I said, you don't get to decide what happens next. He shifted in his chair. Are you saying you want a divorce? I'm saying, I replied, that I'm not making any decisions today. His shoulders sagged in relief. That's good, he said. That's really good. I smiled. He misunderstood that smile completely. Over the next few days, Mark tried everything. Flowers. Long messages. Tears. Promises. I'll block her. I'll quit my job. I'll do therapy. Each offer sounded louder than the last, like volume could replace trust. I thanked him politely. I accepted the flowers. I didn't give him answers. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened. Called me. I stared at her name on my screen, my heart racing. I answered. She said softly, I know I probably shouldn't be calling. It's okay, I replied. There was a pause. I ended things with Mark. I closed my eyes. I know. How? She asked. I just know, I said. She laughed weakly. He showed up at my apartment, crying, saying he made the biggest mistake of his life. I felt a strange mix of emotions, satisfaction, sadness, relief. I told him I couldn't be part of this anymore, she continued. I told him to choose. And, I asked. He said he already did. He chose you. I didn't respond. She said, her voice shaking, I'm really sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I believe you, I said. She inhaled sharply. Why are you being so nice to me? I thought about that. Because, I said slowly, you're not my enemy. After we hung up, I sat in silence for a long time. I realized something then. I wasn't fighting. I wasn't even really fighting Mark. I was fighting the version of myself that stayed quiet when something felt wrong. And that version was losing. That weekend, I did something no one expected. I invited Mark to dinner. Not at the house. At a restaurant downtown, public, neutral. He arrived early, nervous, hopeful. You look beautiful, he said when he saw me. Thank you, I replied. We ordered food, small talk, safe topics. Then I said, I need to ask you something. Anything, he said quickly. Why did you save my birthday as your phone password? He blinked. What? You changed it, I continued. You hidden better, why didn't you? He stared at the table. I think part of me wanted to get caught. That answer hit harder than I expected. So you wanted me to find out, I said. I wanted you to notice me, he whispered. I leaned back in my chair. You know what's funny, I said. I noticed everything, I just trusted you enough not to question it. He looked up, eyes full of regret. I don't know if I can ever trust you again, I said honestly. I'll wait, he said, however long it takes. I nodded. But in my head, a different clock was ticking. That night, when I got home, I opened my laptop and did something bold. I applied for a job. Out of state. A job I had once dreamed about but never took because Mark didn't want to move. I stared at the confirmation email, my heart pounding. This wasn't revenge. Not yet. This was freedom knocking. A few days later, I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Mark's mom. Can we talk?" My stomach dropped. I called her immediately. She said warmly, "I heard there's been some trouble." That was one way to put it. "I just want you to know," she continued, "that whatever you decide, you deserve happiness." Tears filled my eyes. "Thank you," I whispered. After we hung up, I realized how far this had gone. Families, friends, lives tangled together. Mark came over that evening. He looked hopeful. "I told my parents everything," he said. "I'm ready to fight for us." I looked at him, really looked at him. "Mark," I said, "do you even know who I am anymore?" He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. My phone buzzed. An email notification. I glanced down. Interview request. My heart raced. Mark noticed. "Everything okay?" I smiled slowly. "Yes," I said, "everything is about to be." He frowned. "What does that mean?" I stood up and grabbed my purse. "It means," I said, walking toward the door, "that the story you thought you were writing about us." I turned and looked at him one last time. I just picked up the pen. And I walked out, leaving him alone in the house that no longer felt like mine. I didn't go far that night. I sat in my car with the engine off, hands on the steering wheel, breathing like I had just run a mile. My phone lay on the passenger seat, glowing softly, holding a future that scared me almost as much as it excited me. For the first time in a long time, the silence didn't feel empty. It felt honest. The interview happened a week later. I wore confidence like armor. I spoke clearly. I didn't apologize for wanting more. When it ended, the woman on the screen smiled and said, "We'll be in touch." 2 days later, they were. I got the job. Out of state, fresh start, new chapter. When I told Mark, he didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just sat very still, like someone trying not to fall apart. "So that's it?" he asked quietly. I shook my head. "This isn't about leaving you, it's about choosing me." He nodded slowly. "I never thought you would." "I didn't either," I said. "We decided not to rush divorce papers. Not yet. We decided to tell people we were taking space. It was easier that way, less noise, less judgment." Mark moved into a small apartment. I stayed in the house until my move date. Sophia sent me one last message. "I hope you're okay." I replied, "I am now." On my final night in the house, I walked through every room one last time. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just a place where I learned something important. Love without respect is just a pretty lie. At the airport the next morning, Mark hugged me goodbye. It was gentle, careful, like we both knew this version of us was ending. "I'm sorry," he said. "I know," I replied. And for the first time, that was enough. As the plane lifted into the sky, I looked out the window and felt something unexpected. Peace. My revenge wasn't screaming. It wasn't exposure. It wasn't making him suffer. My revenge was becoming someone who no longer needed his lies to survive. And just as the seatbelt sign turned off, my phone buzzed. A message from Mark. "I don't think I ever really knew you." I smiled softly and whispered to myself. Neither did I. I stood at the airport gate, holding my ticket like it might disappear if I blinked too hard. My life fit into 2 suitcases. 10 years of marriage, reduced to what I could carry. I should have felt broken. Instead, I felt light. Mark didn't come to the airport this time. He said goodbyes were too hard. I understood what he really meant. Watching me leave would make everything real. And Mark hated reality. As I waited to board, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Almost. "Emily, it's Sophia." My chest tightened. I stepped aside. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said quietly. "For what?" "For not destroying me," she replied. "You could have, you didn't." I thought about that. I wasn't trying to be kind, I said honestly. I was trying to be free. She was silent for a moment. He keeps calling me, she added. I don't answer. That's good, I said. I think, she whispered, he's finally realizing what he lost. I closed my eyes. That realization, I said, comes too late. We hung up. When the boarding announcement played, my heart raced, not with fear, with excitement. I took my seat by the window. As the plane taxied forward, my phone buzzed one last time. Mark. I see now, his message read. Your revenge wasn't leaving me, it was outgrowing me. I stared at the screen. Then I typed back the truth. No, Mark, my revenge was choosing myself when you never chose me. I put the phone on airplane mode. The city shrank below me. The lies. The promises. The woman I used to be. All of it stayed behind. Some people think revenge has to be loud. Messy. Cruel. Mine was quiet. Mine was walking away without begging. Mine was healing in places he would never reach. And as the clouds swallowed the ground below, one thought settled deep in my chest. This wasn't the end of my story. Thanks for watching. Kindly drop your comment about this story. And please subscribe to this channel for more interesting story.